Get Ripple, the bright new drink with that ring-a-ding flavor. Ripple.
Wait, are we recording?
I hit record.
Oh, okay. Hi. Hello.
Hey, I downloaded this new
App.
Ghost app, and I forgot about it, and I wanted to use it. What is that just flew at me?
Oh, it's just a piece of Ash's fluff.
Oh,
She's shedding a lot. I gave her a bath yesterday, and all of her poofs are coming out of her coat.
all right. So this is called Ghost Tube.
What is Ghost Tube?
I don't know. It was supposed to be really great. So it has no preloaded sounds or anything. It just picks up stuff.
What is it picking up?
I don't know. Listen.
Yeah, but what kind of stuff is it trying to pick up?
Words. Ghosts communicating with us.
So Rosa's putting the Ghost Tube on our creepy ass dolls. That somebody please leave us a review so we can get these out of my house. I do not want them in here anymore. I will send them to you. They can be your new best friend. So it's supposed to pick up. Am I supposed to be quiet to hear the ghosts talking?
Probably. You're probably talking too much.
Okay.
I don't know what that said.
No. I heard big heart. Pickle? This is great for podcasting.
I don't know those words.
No, neither do I.
All right. So, what's new?
I have chickens now. My mail order chickens came in the mail.
They're super cute.
I had to go pick them up from the post office.
You got 25.
Yeah.
And how many do you have left?
No, okay. So I got an assortment of lay hen chickens, and unfortunately one of them did arrive dead. But you know, it's Mother Nature, that happens. And there was another one that was like on its last breath when it got here, and it did not survive the night. But the others seem to be doing okay. I mean, I got it all set up. I have this big like water trough that they're living in, and they have heat lights, and I have this like what I call the hen robot, which is like this heating pad, but it's on legs. It has like 4 legs, and they go underneath it.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
That's really cute.
And they like that. I got this special waterer so that they don't drown, because apparently that's something that baby chicks do when I did my research.
I've heard of that.
And then I have this like special feeder, and I bought him the supplements and all of this stuff. And I was like a little bit worried because I got him in February, and it's pretty early for baby chicks. And I thought that maybe they would get cold, and was kind of worried about that. I'm like, shoot, did I just get him too early? Did I make a big mistake? Well, no, because it's been freaking 88 degrees.
Yeah.
It has been insanely, unseasonally hot the last couple days, and
You barely need to turn the heat light on.
right, I've only turned the heat light on at night, and then the hen is always on, and they can like go under it whenever they want.
That's a really cool invention.
It's a super cool invention, and apparently it's like a lot safer than having a heat light, because the heat light can like fall and burn your house down.
I know someone that happened to.
Really?
Unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, okay, so you're the chicken expert in the family. Have you ever heard of pasty butt?
No, is that like when their poo-poos get stuck?
That's exactly what it is,
Or
Rosa.
you need-
It's when their poop gets stuck on their butt, because when the weather changes drastically, like these chickens came from like Indiana or something, and where it's like 20 degrees. And they came here and they had to witness California heat and wind and dryness. And even though I tried to keep them as cool as possible, apparently their little buttholes got dried poop on them. So I spent my morning
Wiping chicken ass?
I had 4 of my chickens. I had pasty butt, and I had to take a little warm sponge
and wipe
and
their booties.
wipe their buttholes off so that they didn't have like a dried chicken poop butt plug and die.
My chicken, the ghost.
Yes.
The ghost chicken that appeared and disappeared and appeared and disappeared. She disappeared again for a couple days.
Well, she's not like really your chicken. She just like showed up.
She's a wild chicken that just showed up in my yard.
Okay.
That lives with my chicken sometimes.
Okay.
And she was gone for a couple days. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Maybe a coyote got her, because that's kind of what happens around here sometimes. And But then I saw her this morning, and she's like kind of acting weird, running around like clucking and getting food and getting water and just running all frantically. And then she disappeared again. So what I think's happened, she's got
Eggs
a
somewhere.
nest of eggs that she's setting
And she just came in
to get her
for a
food, get
quick
some
bite,
water, and then
she's
to go
outta
back.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's exciting.
So maybe I'll have baby chicks pretty soon too.
I hope they don't get pasty butt.
Yeah. Well,
I
they're
hope you don't have
born
to-
and raised in California, so they're probably used to the weather.
Yeah. But yeah, did you know they can die from dried
Chicken butt.
chicken poop butt plugs?
The more you know.
Yeah.
We're just giving all the information.
We have all of the resources.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How was your week? Do you have any other stories for me?
Well, I had a cold. My voice I sound nasally in my head. I don't know if I sound that way out right now,
A
but
tiny bit, but
okay.
it's fine.
I had a cold for a few days, just a stupid cold. I haven't been sick since forever. But so I was just kind of taking it easy. I binged the Pamela and Tommy documentary on Hulu.
That's a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm out of the loop. I
Seth
had no idea.
Rogen, isn't it? Seth
What do
Rogen.
they have to say? Like,
It talks about like their relationship, how they met, how the whole like tape got stolen from their property, what happened because of it. It's very entertaining.
huh? Okay.
I mean, I've always liked Pam. She's kind of a trip. Tommy's a major trip, but it's worth watching if you have
Okay.
Hulu. And thanks to our listener for their Hulu
Oh.
password because I'm still using it.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, I was a very like chill week for me because I just had no energy. Just was trying to beat this stupid cold.
Yeah.
What about you? Anything good?
As far as like watching shows and stuff.
Anything? Reading, watching, listening to?
So I started. Okay, you know how I used to love Heart of Dixie, which was the cheesiest show. What?
Oh my gosh, are you going to talk about Sweet Magnolia?
Yes.
It is
The grown-up, more drama
version.
less comedy, more drama. I almost wonder if they're like the same writers or something.
Well, you know, the guy from Heart of Dixie is in Sweet Magnolia. The doctor, the old doctor.
no, I've
Yeah.
only watched one episode.
I've tried to get into it. I
like it.
I tried it again this week, and it's kind of slow for me.
Well, it's very unrealistic. They say the things that I think stereotypical deep South people say, like bless your heart and stuff like that, which I don't think people actually say that stuff in real. I mean,
You don't think?
No, I think they do, but I don't think they say it in the way that they say it as like dramatic as the show is.
The main,
But I like it.
It's
just
so it's Gilmore Girls meets Heart of Dixie.
It is. I like it.
I like the actress, the chef actress in it.
Yeah, she's my favorite.
She was in Drop Dead Diva,
Oh, okay.
and I loved that show. She was really good in that. But no, it's okay. I'm watching it.
Like I said, I've only watched one episode, so I might get bored of it, but I like it so far. And then Futurama's on Hulu.
Oh, that's
I love
fun.
Futurama. It's getting a reboot. So that's been my excitement. I want to like rewatch it and then watch the new one when it comes out.
Okay. Well, do you want to do part 2?
I'm ready to do part 2.
Yay. Okay, go.
So, little refresher. Again, Rose and I are drinking Moscow Mules this week, which is the same thing we had last time
Because we're in Russia.
because we're still in Russia. But just to catch you up, group of hikers, they go missing. They all die. One of them gets away and survives. Nobody knows how they died or why they died, and it's really weird and mysterious.
And the way they die is terrible.
Yeah,
Blood-
blood coming out of the eyes and the ears and the mouth, and
Slamming their head against rocks.
yeah, it's unfortunate. Not the best way to go.
We were watching Sled Dogs this morning with Eden, that like Disney movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, going through the snow of Alaska and all this stuff. And Nick's saying, oh, wouldn't that be cool to go to Alaska? And all I could think about was these Russian hikers hiking through Russia and just having these horrible experiences. And I'm like, no, it doesn't really sound that great.
Well, I know Sarah Palin can see Russia from her window, but in fact, Russia and Alaska are two different places. If you didn't know.
Alaska's an island, right?
Yes. It's an island.
On the map, it's an island.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's right next to Hawaii.
Yeah.
All right, go.
It's weird that it's like there's a super cold place right next to these tropical islands. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So first I want to start off by going through a couple of the things that sounded really like strange and just unexplainable and explain them really quickly because they're not as exciting as they initially seemed. So first thing is, remember how I told you that their eyes and their tongues were missing when their bodies were found?
Uh-huh.
And a lot of people associated that with the Dyatlov Pass because their eyes and tongues were missing. Not all of them, but a few of them.
We had one person say that the reason that their eyes and tongue was missing was there's like rats or some kind of rodents that can survive the Russian winters.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they didn't give the name of that rodent or whatever, and honestly, I didn't research it, but that was what one person suggested. The reason their eyes and tongues were missing was some like little rodents.
One that I never want to meet. But they're exactly right. And the thing is that our friends here from the Khamar Daban incident, they were not in the middle of winter. So it's normal that like those soft tissue parts are going to be scavenged and consumed by, I don't know if you can hear my dog scratching her fleas right now. But that's normal. It's not as mysterious as Dyatlov. Another thing is when you watched the video and you described like how the bodies were, like how they looked, how they were placed out in the campsite after they were recovered, and you kind of described them as being just like scattered, right?
Right.
They were just all over the place in these like weird kind of unnatural positions.
Right.
Well, again, scavengers. So they could have died in a completely different position, and vultures or
kind of pushed their body around.
Kind of pushed them around. Maybe they had food on them that was easier to access before they decomposed, and maybe they were like, that's also something that is totally explainable.
Okay.
And then finally, we talked about how it took 19 days for their bodies to be recovered, and again, like people were saying, well, why didn't they just go get them? Like there's it's just weird.
Right.
The government's trying to cover
weird
something
for
up.
me.
Well, that also has an explanation. And one thing is that Valya, she was going in and out of this catatonic state, and it was really hard to get details from her and really know like where to start searching because, like I said, this area is like half the size of the state of California. It is massive.
But didn't they have to file a hiking trail or something? Like when you're gonna go on a flight, you have to file
a flight plan. I don't know.
Especially
I don't
if you're
know.
going with a bunch of students.
That was my thought as well. I would think that especially with Ludmilla being a master hiker, that her information would be on file, even if it's not required.
And the daughter
exactly
knew where they were supposed to meet up.
Right. So that's only one contributing factor to why they say it took so long. The other contributing factor is that it was still super windy after the storm had passed through. So they actually did send out several pairs of like ground crew out hiking right after. That was just something that wasn't published correctly. There was hikers on the ground looking for them immediately after, but they weren't able to get a helicopter up for 2 weeks.
Because of the weather?
Because the weather was so bad.
That was pretty bad weather.
Yeah.
But still, you would think the hikers, like if this crew, it only took them a day to walk to where they were. Yeah. Why did it take that long for the rest of these, search and rescue people to get there?
And there's varying reports, and some of the people from the search and rescue crew say that, yeah, we knew exactly where the bodies were. We just couldn't get them out because we needed a helicopter to do that. We couldn't just carry them out.
Why not?
Because they were, I guess, too far away from.
They didn't have like ATVs or something they could have strapped them on?
I don't know.
These sound kind of like excuses to me.
Okay.
Well,
that was just some information that I felt like it needed to be out there because there are some reasons on the books, even if it's not completely explainable.
Okay.
I agree, though. That sounds like an excuse.
It does.
Okay. So then we found out that the cause of death, according to the medical examiner, was hypothermia, and then a contributing factor was the protein deficiency.
Right. They had eaten, and it wasn't that cold.
And let's first talk about why that is a load of crap. Because one, Valya tells us that they did have breakfast that morning. So how are they protein deficient?
That's where they got poisoned.
Okay.
That's still what I'm
We'll
going
get
with.
to that. We'll get to that. The other thing is they had brought enough food for each one of them to have about 2,500 calories a day. So they were not lacking at all in the food.
2,500 calories. That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, they're hiking a lot and they're carrying a heavy load.
No, I'm saying that's a good amount, like, for them.
Yeah. But once this news got out, like, the public kind of turned on Ludmilla and they started blaming her. Like, she took these students, they were her responsibility, and she put them in this dangerous situation. And remember how we talked about how she was known to be kind of like tough love, kind of hard on them?
Mm-hmm.
People started saying that she intentionally put them in this vulnerable position to teach them how to, like, weather a storm. Because just 30 minutes up the hill from where they came, there was actually a structure, like an emergency shelter, that they could have stayed in. And then if they went 30 minutes down the hill, they could have gone into the forest and had tree cover, which have also, like, they wouldn't have been as susceptible to the elements there.
Yeah. But wouldn't she have wanted to get out of the elements too? Like, isn't there, like, you think she's really going to make them sit through that? Is that what they're suggesting?
I don't think it was hypothermia. Because doesn't that make perfect, like, if you're cold enough to where, like, I mean, I would think that she would know the initial onset, like, symptoms and be like, okay, we need to get up, we need to go down to the forest, or we need to go up to the emergency shelter.
Yeah, this is part of hiking. Okay, this came up, this is scary, this is what you should do in a situation. You go to a safe area. Get out of the elements.
So that's why I'm saying that's a load of crap.
Yeah.
I don't think that's
and how
what
cold
happened.
did it really get? I didn't think it was even that cold.
Well, we talked about how it was expected to be like in the 60s, 70s during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then that night, it got colder than they expected. It got down to about 50. But then the cyclone came through, which probably brought a wind chill of some kind. But I don't know, like, if that's documented anywhere, how much colder it got, or
and
if
for
we
how
even
long.
know. Right. So let's say it dropped 20 degrees, right? Let's say there's a 20-degree wind chill.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I don't know how weather works, but say it was 30 degrees. Still, is that cold enough for a bunch of Russians
To just start
die
bleeding?
and banging their heads in the rocks?
Yeah.
No. I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. So let's talk first about your theory, Rosa,
Okay.
about poisoning.
Yep.
Specifically, we're talking about
Arsenic.
mushroom.
Oh.
Arsenic.
Just first thing that came to my mind.
Oh. No, we're talking about shrooms. We're
Okay.
talking about psychedelics.
I'll tell you
We're
all
talking
I
about-
know about that.
Okay, you want to go for it?
Nope.
We're talking about tripping on
Balls.
some wild mushrooms, and I totally lost my place on my document. And this is from an article called The Most Credible Theories Regarding the Khamar Daban Incident by Natasha Mullins on the Mystery Box, our publisher. I don't know if it's a blog or what it is. Anyway, so we know that Ludmilla was known to be a forager, and she was actually teaching her students on how to forage and how to distinguish between poisonous plants and plants that you can consume and can help you get through, a survival situation.
Good berries and bad berries.
Good, exactly. Like into the wild.
Mm-hmm.
Don't eat the bad berries.
Hunger Games.
Was that a Hunger Games?
Remember how that's how they were going to kill themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
That's dark for a young adult novel.
So good, though.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. So this theory goes that, like, that morning, like Valya said, they ate breakfast, and they think that possibly either Ludmilla mistakenly put in some poisonous psychedelic mushrooms, or maybe a student put them in without, like, talking to her first. And that way, that would be why everybody was exposed. And apparently, a common effect that can occur if somebody is tripping balls on shrooms is that they can see what looks like people bleeding through their eyes.
Oh.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
So the V girl,
Valya.
that survived, they weren't really bleeding like that way, but that's what she saw.
Yes, that's what this theory goes with.
It makes even more sense to me now.
Okay, so then that theory would be that Valya either didn't eat enough of them to succumb to a
the poisoning.
deadly poisoning, or maybe she has like a genetic difference that causes her to consume more without having like that sort of effect, without actually killing her. So the theory is that like she was tripping. She saw all of this crazy shit happen in her head that didn't actually happen. And everybody else actually died because of the poisoning.
That makes total sense to me.
Okay. But the things that go against this theory is that the autopsy results didn't show any of that. And they had no reason to lie about something like that.
And they said they didn't even eat. They were like malnourished or whatever.
Exactly. They said that they had a protein deficiency. And then the other thing would be is that a lot of recordings of people who have actual poisonings from psychedelic mushrooms or poisonous mushrooms or whatever, they don't all die that quickly together. Like they metabolize things differently. So it wouldn't be like, oh, one drop's dead, 30 seconds later, another one's down. You know, they're not dropping like flies.
But if her time, her concept of time is messed up because of the mushrooms, maybe that's what she thought.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I do kind of like this theory. The only thing that bothers me about it is that the medical examiner could have easily, I think, like distinguished and said that. And it would be a perfectly reasonable explanation and it wouldn't cause any sort of controversy because, yeah, people do sometimes eat the wrong plants and die. Mm-hmm. But they made it seem almost like a cover up by saying, oh, hypothermia, protein deficiency.
What, did the one person really die from slamming their head against a rock? Or are we going to get to that later?
We don't know. And that's the one thing that bothers me. And I have like a list of things at the end of all of these theories that like, okay, if we just knew this information, it would rule out like all of these theories. We don't know if she had a skull fracture and died that way.
Really?
We don't know if people were like actually bleeding out of their mouth and eyes and stuff because
or if that was just a hallucination.
Right. And even so, like even if it did happen, by the time that their bodies were recovered, those parts of their bodies would have been gone. So it can't even be verified that way. So
I'm still going with that theory.
Okay.
It makes total sense to me.
So there's another theory that also goes along with the whole foraging idea.
Okay.
So we know that Ludmilla was foraging because they also found this bag on her body when she died. And this bag contained a medicinal herb that can only be found in those mountains. And I tried to find the name of it. I actually, when you first got here, I was trying to look up the name of it. It's been mentioned multiple times on different episodes of podcasts and YouTube videos. And people keep calling it different things. Some people call it lion's mane, which I think is like a mushroom.
Oh my gosh. I know. No, it's not.
It's not?
No, that grows locally to us.
Okay, then it's not that. Maybe it's something related to that. But it's a medicinal herb that is supposed to be like, it works wonders for headaches, for migraines, for cramps, for like all of these things. It's like this cure-all.
We have a person that enters that into the fair every year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the Ag Building. You've seen it. You keep talking. I'm going to pull up a picture of it for you.
Okay. So this particular herb takes a really, really long time to grow. It takes like, I don't know, like 10 years or something. And so the natives of that area have always had this rule that you only take what you need so that other people can utilize it as well. And it won't be like over harvested and the people that need it can still have access to it.
Okay.
However, if you take this herb to town, you can sell it and make a lot of money because it's extremely valuable because it just has so many medicinal benefits. And Ludmilla had a bag of it on her that was way more than what she would have personally used. So there's a theory that native spirits in the area took her out because she broke that rule. And that's like a legend in that area that if you take more than what you need, they're going to come after you. So what do you think about that theory?
So they're saying like the natives are the ones that went after her?
Native spirits.
Oh.
Ghosts.
Oh.
Supernatural.
So if you take more than what you need,
you pay the price.
Kind of like a karma type thing.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. They say like if you go to certain islands and you take rocks from that area back home, that you're going to be cursed. And people have like actually sent back the rocks because of the spirits, you know, giving them the bad luck. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I kind of have, and I don't know where I've heard of it, but that sounds super familiar.
So I wonder if that's like a similar thing.
Sure.
Lion's mane, by the way,
Uh-huh.
it's a mushroom. I'm thinking of something totally different. So the one
Okay.
you're saying is a mushroom. The one I'm thinking of is like a lion. It's like a flower. It's yellow. It's orangish, but it's also
Yeah.
a hallucinogenic.
Oh, well, that's fun.
Uh-huh.
And somebody enters that every year at the fair?
Yeah. And I laugh every year.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's exciting.
Should
we do a hallucinogenic episode of the Ripple podcast
So
live on stage?
there was this TikTok video that I watched recently, and this lady, she went to some, I don't know, facility or whatever, and they pretty much give you some kind of a hallucinogenic in a very small dose, but they kind of like quote unquote keep you safe. And the whole point of it is to like find out more about your like inner self, but you're pretty much like tripping.
Ketamine.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's ketamine.
I don't know.
Yeah, they did it on Teen Mom. They went into a K-hole.
A K-hole?
That's what they call it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a form of therapy.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Like
It looks really scary because
Yeah, it does.
I'm scared of that stuff, but it looked really interesting.
Yeah, those are like horse tranquilizers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like Special K.
Yeah. We're probably totally wrong, and people are going to like,
Come at us.
Yeah.
Because we don't
No.
know our drugs.
what were we talking about last time? Like, what are the units of measure of heroin, or what is a heroin or something like
How do you measure heroin? Kilos? What?
I don't know.
Yeah. Obviously we don't do a lot of that stuff.
No, I hardly tolerate alcohol.
Lion's tail is the one I was.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
No.
But I think there's like just a weird translation error because different sources had different names for it. So I'm just going to play it on the safe side and say that it was just some medicinal herb. But I think, I don't know, maybe there's some validity to that
I mean,
because nothing else explains it. Next one, and this one is similar to the Dyatlov because this kind of goes back to this being like a military government cover-up.
okay.
So in 1991 is when the Soviet Union dissolved,
Okay.
collapsed. I don't know, ended. The
Went
end.
away.
And when that happened, a lot of these different chemical warfare things, weapons, various weapons, just went missing. And nobody could really account for them. And some people think that they were like dumped. What? Go ahead.
I keep smelling rain. Are you getting that smell, that scent?
I do. Is it raining outside?
No, it's like 1,000,000 degrees.
It could still rain. No, I smell that too. What is that? Is it a ghost?
It might be.
Is it the native spirits from Russia?
I made it rain one time when I did a Native American rain dance.
Oh, you were so getting canceled.
I know I was taught it by Native Americans.
I still don't think you're allowed.
They taught it to me.
Okay.
I remember it.
Well, can you do it again? Because we could use some rain.
Yeah.
I smell that too now. I didn't smell it until you said that.
I kept smelling it.
Oh, God.
We've got a rain ghost.
I wouldn't mind that.
It's actually a pretty good ghost to have.
Except when this happens.
Oh, okay. Keep going.
So speaking of rain, so these weapons disappeared, and some of those included nerve gases.
Oh, that scares me so much.
Okay, and these nerve gases apparently are water soluble. And when it rained, it created this, it reactivated them almost. And then remember how when they woke up that morning, it was like super foggy?
Okay.
So those nerve gas particles could have been hanging out in that fog. And since they were hanging out in this like humid, dense, wet area, they could have been exposed to this nerve gas. Nope. Okay. Well, I don't really like this one either.
No. And why did Valeria
Valia.
Why did that not kill her? I mean, it's either it kills all of them or none of them.
Well, let me tell you a little bit more about this because I don't know if I explained it very well, and this might change your mind. So some of the things that can result of being exposed to this nerve gas are the convulsions, those seizures that they had. It can bruise and damage their lungs. It can cause a heart attack, which Ludmilla had. And it can also cause that kind of bloody foam to come out of their mouth and nose as after they're being exposed.
Okay.
And the reason that Valya may not have been exposed is because they could have started off in like a denser area of this fog where Sasha was, and he was kind of in the epicenter. So imagine them walking in this line, and Sasha is in this like super dense fog area right next to Ludmilla. And then as people came to help them, they went into that epicenter of the concentration of the nerve gas. But Valya was maybe further down the hill in a less foggy area. Yeah, I don't really like it either. But I mean
I can see how it's a theory, but I'm not buying it.
And then the other thing too is that, like, I would imagine that since this is a water soluble substance, it would come down the hill, right? So then wouldn't it contaminate the waterways, and they would notice, like,
multiple people?
Yeah, it's just
or
weird.
animals,
and
or
exactly like there wasn't a bunch of dead animals around them. It seems like it wouldn't be an isolated event if that were the case. All right. I mean, it's a super popular theory, so I had to tell it. But no, it's not my favorite either. The one that is my favorite is another one that was brought up when you did your Dyatlov Pass, which is the ultrasonic sound.
The pooping sound.
Yes, the brown note.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything about this?
I mean, just that certain sounds have certain can cause reactions and make people go crazy.
Yeah. So these sounds are referred to as low frequency sounds. So something that like you can't even hear sometimes, or
like a dog whistle,
like sounds that you can't even hear. Like you said, a dog whistle, are also called infrasound. And it's sound frequencies that are below 20 hertz. Isn't that what we decided HZ stands for?
Yes. The low frequency would be like a super like low droning sound, not a high like whistly sound.
I don't know. I don't have answers to these questions because I've heard high frequency sounds having effects on people as well, like that are so high pitched that you can't even hear them.
Yeah, or just it really bothers you. You know when you hear that like.
Yes, I heard it last night, like the ringing in your ears,
yes.
and you don't know if it's inside your head or outside your body.
Or if it's like an electronic thing that's going off that you don't know where it's coming. Yeah, that's like a high pitchy sound.
Right.
It's a very technical term.
Yes.
High pitchy.
So I'm going to say that both of those are true because I don't know. And I've heard theories that to kind of describe both. So the low frequency sounds are kind of like you said, they're kind of drones, and it can be caused by things like just traffic noise around you. It can be caused by things like vibrations from construction equipment, the wind turbines, like those big giant wind machine windmill things out in the desert
that like create energy.
So there have been documents of sounds like that causing people to lose their minds and absolutely just go insane. Like they start off by just being kind of annoyed, and then they get aggravated, and then they start like hallucinating, and they can't sleep at night, and they don't know exactly what's causing it. And it can actually lead people to lose their freaking minds. And this kind of reminds me of, do you remember, actually I think they're still on the market because I think I saw one just the other day, these rodent deterrents.
Oh yeah.
Electric mouse traps.
Yeah.
And
they still make them.
There's these things, yeah. And they emit a sound
like
that we can't hear.
But dogs can, or cats.
But rodents apparently can. And it's supposed to keep them away because that sound drives them insane.
Isn't that what killed your rabbits?
No, that was your rabbits. That was before I was alive.
I didn't have rabbits.
Yeah, you had guinea pigs, and it was in Fillmore before I was born.
Yeah.
And Mom got one of those rodent deterrents.
Is that what killed them?
She plugged it in the backyard, and then it killed your guinea pig.
My guinea pigs. Yeah. I knew something died.
But there's been documented cases of things like this happening to humans. And it's actually been researched by various militaries, including the Russian military, to be used as a weapon of war. So the theory goes that either A, this was a military experiment that accidentally was like these hikers were exposed to, and they like were exposed to the sound. They lost their freaking minds. Their heads got all scrambled. They started bleeding out their eyes and ears, bashing their heads into rocks.
To make the sound stop.
Or the other one being that cyclone, remember how it was creating like a ton of wind? It was a super warm, nice, beautiful day. Went into a super freezing, horrible hypothermia day.
Mm-hmm.
That pressure change can cause those frequencies to be emitted, and they were exposed to it that way naturally. And it was just like a terrible series of unfortunate events that they were like in this area where the wind blew the right way and caused this sound, and they freaked out.
Does the Russian government have ways of controlling weather?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because it sure seems like it.
Tell me more.
Well, just with Dyatlov, same thing. This strange, storm happened out of the blue. There was no one knew it was coming. And then, this whole incident, again, the cyclone came out of nowhere. And it wasn't like on some record, I don't know.
I don't know. Something
Strange.
to look into.
But again, why was there a survivor if this happened with this sound frequency and everything? Why did one person survive?
Well, I think that if this were the case, so again, like we know that they're walking down in a line. So say Sasha was standing at this perfect point between these two rocks, and that whistle of wind or whatever was hitting him, and Valia was at the opposite end. Maybe she just wasn't exposed to it.
How many were there?
Total, I think there was, oh God, I don't remember now. I think there was 8.
7?
I think there was 7 students.
That's not enough of distance.
I don't know.
I
don't know.
I'd say if there was like 50 and there's, but if there's only 7 or 8 of you, you're walking pretty close to each other.
Maybe her hearing isn't as good. I don't know. Nobody knows. That's the most frustrating part about this entire story. Nobody knows exactly what happens, and it's still a mystery to this day. I like that one. I went down this like super long rabbit hole of like how all these different sounds can
Make you do things?
Change you. Yeah. There's certain sounds and frequencies and like patterns that can cause you to have like crazy anxiety.
Panic attacks. Driven.
Yes.
Yeah.
By listening to a sound.
Uh-huh.
And then there's like certain sounds that make you super relaxed.
I need to hear those kinds.
And then there's sounds that make you hungry. Like there's so much weird mind control that can happen with sounds. And I want to do a whole episode on it.
Yeah, you can like totally mess with somebody.
Absolutely.
If you have access to those
Well,
sounds.
and then just think about like when you watch a horror movie, did you ever like have I don't even remember what class it was. I think it was like some art class or something where you watch a horror movie without the music and it's just not scary at all.
Yeah, or you put like happy music to it
And it's just like
it's
silly.
stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you put scary music to a happy movie and it totally changes the whole thing too. I mean, sound is kind of important.
So next episode, Rose and I are going to trip on some lion's mane mushrooms and we're going to watch horror movies and play happy music.
Or we're going to watch Disney movies and play horror music.
That's going to send me right into a K-hole. Okay. Last theory, at least in the theories. I mean, there's so many freaking theories out there.
Mm-hmm.
So many of them I immediately dismissed, but like these are the ones that I thought held the most weight. This is one that you might not like.
Okay.
She made it all up.
Valia.
Valia
made it all up?
Valia made the whole story up.
Weren't there people really dead?
Their people really died, but she could have unintentionally made it up because she was so traumatized. So there's actually documented cases of like when something awful happens and you are so heavily affected by it that you create this story in your head to like make it make sense. Even though it doesn't make sense, but it's just like it's a reaction that she had that created this whole story, even though...
But they died.
Yeah.
They're really dead.
They're really dead.
So she's not making anything up.
Okay. But maybe they really did die of hypothermia. Maybe they died in their sleep. Maybe they never got up and had breakfast that morning. Maybe that was all a part of her hallucination because she is just so traumatized. But maybe let's say she woke up. Everybody around her is dead. She freaks the fuck out. And in her mind.
But they're all dead.
Right.
No. I don't.
So
they all died somehow.
let me just read you this short little excerpt from.
No. I mean, yes, you can read it to me.
Like, no, this is my podcast. You can't.
No.
Okay, so when somebody undergoes a traumatic experience, they often misremember aspects of that experience, especially when telling it years after. Well, Valia told it right away, but she, again, told it years after. Certain parts of the story could have been exaggerated by Valia by no fault of her own. The research surrounding the inaccurate nature of eyewitness statements is extensive. It's possible that the hikers died exactly how the autopsy report concluded they did. The group succumbed to hypothermia after not being properly sheltered that night and died together in the mountain. Valia could have survived by her own decision to go down to the forest in a difference of clothing, or that, as she reported herself, her increased physical fitness, which I don't think is true. Like, she was, I mean, not to be sexist or anything, but she was a younger teenage girl versus a 20-something-year-old experienced hiking guy. Like, I would think she would be more susceptible to hypothermia than he would.
Or the instructor, the teacher.
Right.
Like,
and
she
that's
has all this experience.
Yeah.
And I also don't see her taking off by herself.
No.
And leaving everyone else behind to go take shelter in the woods.
Yeah. And
that doesn't seem right either.
Yeah, none of that really makes sense. I don't believe this theory. It's, again, it's like another thing to consider because, like, it's such a crazy story that she told. But usually I would think that when somebody makes up a traumatic story to cope with a memory, they want to, like, your brain wants something logical to happen, right? Mm-hmm. So your brain wants, like, I would think that, like, if it were something that were made up, her brain would say they all got killed by wolves. That would be something more logical.
Or that there was, some giant cold storm that came by and
they all froze to death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wouldn't think that your brain would develop a story doesn't make any sense and doesn't give you any sort of conclusion or explanation as to what happened. And if they all died of hypothermia, just like all of the other theories that we have, why did she survive?
Right.
When she would potentially be more susceptible than a lot of the other people who were there.
No, I've heard of that, though, like where, people just need some kind of an explanation. And the truth is not really the truth anymore because doesn't make sense to them. They need it to make sense.
Right. Like, I mean, I haven't witnessed this personally, but like even in movies and stuff, which, those are super scientific and like have a lot of research back into them. But like you'll see, a mom who lost her child and, it could have been a terrible accident. Like maybe she caused it somehow. But in her mind, she's told herself that a bad man came in and took the baby or something,
Yeah, I think even with the John Bonet case, the story changed over time. It could have been because they were trying to avoid saying the truth, but also because what they were hearing didn't make sense, so they needed it to make sense for them. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I feel like that part of it makes sense, but her making it all up doesn't make sense. Like, I think if she were going to make something up, it would have been something a lot more realistic.
Yeah, I agree. Nobody knows. There's more questions than answers.
Always.
I feel more confused now than I did when I first heard about this story. Final thoughts?
No, I'm still going with my gut instinct.
That they were poisoned.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just feel like they would have just come out and said that. Though.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that pulls me back.
Mm-hmm.
The things that I really wish I knew that would help me decide a little bit more is Was there evidence of Tatiana banging her head into the ground?
There wasn't autopsy reports anywhere?
There were, but it was just hypothermia, cardiac arrest, and protein deficiencies.
So there was no report of her smashing her head.
No. And the thing is that also some people find suspicious, but I don't know how to take it, is that the family was not allowed to see the bodies.
Oh, that's strange.
Yeah, the families of the victims, and they were not allowed to see them.
Who told them that?
The police.
Yeah, that's weird.
And their reasoning was it would be too traumatic to see them in that state because they were so badly decomposed.
But I feel like there's a difference between I recommend you don't see your loved one in this condition and you are not allowed to.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And we know that the Dyatlov Pass people were orange because they were
with gray hair.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know whether that's suspicious.
It's all suspicious. I think the Russian government is controlling the weather.
That's your theory? The Russian government is controlling the weather?
No. But it's a fun one.
What if Valya killed them all?
I mean, that did cross my mind, but that wasn't like a knife fight. It wasn't like, unless she poisoned them all. Unless she poisoned them all.
What if she poisoned them all?
What if she is the one that made the food and poisoned them all?
But again, like, why wouldn't that be in the autopsy?
I don't know.
What if the medical examiner was just like really just phoning it in that day? And he's like, oh, a bunch of hikers out in the cold. Yeah, it was pretty cold that night.
But that was kind of the same with the Dyatlov. Like, some of the autopsies were so in depth. Like, I mean, like the most minuscule little detail was documented. But then others, it was like hypothermia.
You know, when I lie, I sure add a lot more detail than's necessary.
More than that was required?
Yeah. I'm such a bad liar. Like, I feel like that's what I do. When I'm lying, I will tell you so much more information because I'm so bad at it that, like, you know I'm lying because I'm telling you. I'm like, and then I stopped and I had a Wetzel's pretzel, and
they only gave me 4 in that were salted. The other ones weren't. It was really weird.
And I asked for the spicy habanero
cheese dip,
and they gave me the regular one. It was super disappointing. You know, like yeah, so I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know. I really liked the sound idea a lot, but maybe that's just because I found it super interesting and I ended up doing like a lot of extra research
on it.
Yeah. Even though I can't tell you whether it was high frequencies or low frequencies or both.
Could have been.
All right.
But we need to do 2 truths and a lie and then pick our winner for this week's review.
Okay.
All right.
Who's going to get one of these dolls out of my house?
Ashes wants to keep them. Okay, so this is a little different than the 2 truths and a lie.
Okay.
I am going to read you the top 3 girl names in 4 different years.
Oh, okay.
Or actually decades.
Oh, okay.
And you have to guess the one that was the most popular in 1993.
I feel like I could do this.
That was the year of your story, correct?
Yes.
All right. So I'm doing 1973, 83, 93, and 2003.
Okay.
Those are the 4, and I'm just going to give you the top 3.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to do Jennifer, Amy, and Michelle, Emily, Emma, Madison, Jennifer, Jessica, Amanda, or Jessica, Ashley, Sarah.
Oh, this is hard.
Tell me if you want any of them again.
Okay, do the first one again.
Jennifer, Amy, Michelle.
That I'm going to say is 83. No, 70.
73?
73.
Okay.
Next.
Emily, Emma, Madison.
That's 2003.
Okay. Do you want the next one?
Yeah.
Jennifer, Jessica, Amanda.
I'm going to say that's 93. What's the last one?
Jessica, Ashley, Sarah.
Wait, did I say 83? That was 83.
Jessica, Ashley, Sarah is 83. You didn't do 93. You did 83 twice.
No. 93 was the one right before that.
Oh, 93 was
The one with the
Jennifer, Jessica, Amanda.
Yeah.
You're very close.
Really?
So the first one, the Jennifer, Amy, Michelle, that was 73.
Okay, I got that one right.
You got Emily, Emma Madison, which was
2003.
03.
Yep.
Jennifer, Jessica, Amanda was 83. And then Jessica, Ashley, Sarah was 93.
Oh. So I got the one that I needed to get right to win this game wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was pretty close.
But if you have someone that we all probably know, like how many Jessicas, Ashleys, Jennifers, Amandas. There's a lot of repetitive names there. Okay.
I totally think that Friends influenced the
Was the
Emma.
Emma?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah, that was really good observation on that one. Okay, so now I have all of our reviewers pulled up from iTunes.
Okay.
Or Apple, I guess it's Apple. Whatever.
I don't know.
Okay.
Podcast. Apple Podcasts now.
And there's quite a few. But I'm just going to scroll up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, and up and down. And you tell me when to stop, and we're going to go with that one.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm very scientific.
Mm-hmm.
This is totally fine. I am feeling the rain spirits tell me to stop now.
All right. So it says, one of my new favorites. I'm a huge true crime podcast fan. I literally listen to all of them. The problem is that they all cover the same stories, but not Rose and Angela. I love the variety that I get here. It's something different, but always very interesting. There's something for everyone. I always find myself coming back to this one. They have the cutest banter. Big fan here. That's like actually a really nice.
That is.
Really nice review.
Yeah.
And this is by the reviewer Danielle _Langolf. Danielle Langolf. So Danielle, shoot us a DM and we are going to get a little prize pack out to you. And I'll put this on our Instagram as well, and see if we. Oh no, because it's not Instagram, so I can't tag her. But
yeah, just
hopefully she'll see it
and post it on Instagram.
Yeah,
so that she knows she's a winner.
Yay! Congratulations.
We'll send nice stuff too, not just.
Crap.
I mean, you're definitely getting something from the bag of crap, but we'll send like stickers and like some fun stuff too.
Yeah, some cool Ripple Pod stuff.
Cool.
But yay! All right, so next week, new story and new drink. And until then, don't forget to be a fountain.
And not a drain.
Bye.
Bye.